What's up? How's she going?
This week on iTunes, country crooner Corey Gallant deems his daddy a particular night of the week. Dennis Ellsworth drops a new LP weeks after dropping a new EP, and new band New Bridge crosses into the iTunes studio. Is ready, PEI? Let's get her done! Indeed, how's she going, Prince Edward Island? I am your host, Adam Michael James, and you are listening to iTunes for the week of October 6, 2024. This portion is sponsored by Technomedia. Origin story time. When I was trying to come up with a name for this show, I hit a complete and total wall. I mean, how do you get across the idea of a podcast that plays nothing but music from PEI artists in a word or two? Anyway, I keep late hours on top of having some sleep issues. One night at about 5 a.m., my brain wouldn't shut up as I was trying and failing to nod off, and iTunes popped into my head. As a kind of riff on iTunes, you know? Not that iTunes hasn't been assimilated by Apple Music, but work with me, okay? iTunes, one simple word that encapsulates what this show is all about. Who says insomnia doesn't have its benefits, especially since the Muse often works 24/7? Speaking of the miracles of the Muse, island country singer Corey Gallant was touring with his Tim McGraw tribute show, but before you could say, I like it, I love it, see what I did there? The Muse led Corey to release his own material, which immediately found its way into getting national airplay. Not bad for a fellow who also works as a first responder. Corey's debut album, Welcome to My World, came out in 2019 and was welcomed with Music PEI's Entertainer of the Year and New Artist of the Year awards the following year. But the hits kept on coming. Corey's most recent single came out in 2022. He counts the country outlaw sounds of Waylon Jennings, George Jones, and Merle Haggard as his influences, and I think in the first few bars you're gonna see why. iTunes goes country with a back-to-back offering of Yeehaw, starting with Corey Gallant and Daddy Was Saturday Night as part one of this
iTunes Rock Block.
Sinner, my mama was a saint. We'd pray before our dinner, and Daddy'd have a drink. We all sat and waited for that lightning bolt to strike. 'Cause mama was Sunday morning and Daddy was Saturday night. No, I ain't no outlaw, it don't matter what you hear. 'Cause I wear a cross around my neck, but I'd still drink a beer. You know I ain't a genius, but I know wrong from right. 'Cause mama was Sunday morning, oh, and Daddy was Saturday night. Yeah, I sure ain't complaining, I think I turned out fine. I never had a lawyer, never did no stretch of time. Ain't afraid to talk to Jesus, he knows my wilder side. Mama was Sunday morning and Daddy was Saturday night. No, I ain't no outlaw, it don't matter what you hear. 'Cause I wear a cross around my neck, but I'd still drink a beer. You know I ain't a genius, but I know wrong from right. 'Cause mama was Sunday morning and Daddy was Saturday night. Come on! Of a good thing is another form of sin. You gotta taste a little bad to find the good in anything. Me and Daddy shared the whiskey, me and Mama shared the wine. 'Cause Mama was Sunday morning and Daddy was Saturday night. No, I ain't no outlaw, it don't matter what you hear. I wear a cross around my neck, but I'd still drink a beer. You know I ain't a genius, but I Yes, he was.
I was 18. She was on the edge of the year before. Too young to be a lady, perfect for the girl next door. We would talk, we would text, we would hang out late, plan these secret meet-up dates. But it was too little too late.
I was 16. He was older, but it didn't matter to me. Fresh out of high school, he was wild and wanted to be free. Said he waited for me to get out of this place, but I couldn't judge him by the look on his face. It was too little too late.
And the story everybody knows, every town has one of those. We thought we would last, but the world it turns oh so fast. Mistakes were made, lives were played in the game that we all lose. That's what happened to me and you. The years have gone, they've been a little rougher on me. I still see her at the end of every second week. Oh, now I drop on by, tell her I'm fine, big goodbye, little ray of light, then tell her goodbye. And the story everybody knows, every town has one of those. We thought we would last, but the world it turns oh so fast. Mistakes were made, lives were played in the game that we all lose. That's what happened to me and you. We thought we would last, but the world it turns oh so fast. Mistakes were made, lives were played in the game that we all lose. That's what happened to me and you.
That's what happened to me and you.
That's what happened. happened to me and you.
Julie and Danny by way of isletunes with the slow country goodness of Me and You. I didn't know this when I selected it, but the song was the duo's first release, which earned its way onto the top 100 in CBC's Searchlight contest of 2021. I did know that it's from their debut album, Dreams. Julie and Danny had already been making music together for well over a decade when, in 2016, Danny asked Julie to join his band Renegade. That worked out well enough that they decided to embark on their own musical journey together, and it ain't over yet. There's a follow-up album in the works. I'll let you know when it's time for this up-following. In recent years, PEI has been catching up to the rest of the country by virtue of the increase in diversity of its populace. And all those different influences from so many different parts of the world have, of course, had an inevitable effect on the music made here. Now, these guys, what were the odds that not only would their names rhyme, but they would end up hailing from the same country? Elvis is a producer from Nigeria who is heavy into EDM, that's electronic dance music for those not in the know. Melvis is also a Nigerian producer, only he's heavy into Afrobeat. It seemed destined that they would pair up and create tracks with a fusion of those sounds, and so they did, handing the mic over to a variety of singers. One of their more frequent collaborators is Saffron Venti. Together they bring us a cut from Elvis and Melvis's The Do-Over EP from 2023. On the mic is Saffron. This is Same Difference on isletunes.
It's a Venti Mocha world. Hold love for me while I find a way to be alright. Trust and believe that the journey leads us to the light. Create problems wherever solutions do. Aggravating the issues not misconstrued, cause the blues broke the roots of the tree of life. Don't cry for me when I find a way to hurt my pride. Trust and believe that I'll find a way to see the light. I know where I've been and the things I've done. Don't point a finger, you're here to learn. And I yearn for a perfect life. There's the same kind of wavelengths everywhere. Humble and naked and very bare. Very bare. There's the same kind of magic across the sky. Same songs, just different rhythms and times. The same and schisms. North and south, east to west, said it's all the same difference. Pockets of a universe, find our ways to feel appreciated. Living life through thoughts most deliberated. On the verge of losing patience over the same situation. North and south, east to west, said it's all the same difference. Pockets of the universe, finding ways to feel appreciated. Living life through a thought was deliberated. Seeking love and admiration in the same situations.
Elvis and Melvis featuring Saffron on isletunes with the grooves of Same Difference. As a side note, I have it on good authority that Saffron will appear in Season 2 of The Ghosts of Prince Edward Island. That good authority is me, since she and I will feature in the same episode. The trailer is currently up on YouTube, and this new season will premiere on Halloween on Bell 5 TV1. Coming up, the unassuming ways of Trevor Lowell Clements, going hard with Dennis Ellsworth's new album Hardcore Freewheelin', and while Newbridge is new, its members aren't new to the music scene at all. Every single thing we do, whether we've done it a century or a second ago, becomes history. The only difference is that some of it remains personal and some of it gets taught in textbooks. Here's some tidbits that qualify as somewhere in the middle thanks to the archival archiving of islandnewspapers.com and which form the basis of this week's This Week in PEI History. October 8, 1965. The Guardian ran the headline, "PEI is held example in centennial planning." Apparently, the higher-ups in Ottawa who were putting together celebrations for the 100th anniversary of Confederation 2 years down the line wanted all of Canada to look like PEI, saying, quote, "The province is like a little garden," unquote. Apparently, that was due to a community and rural improvement program that had started in 1947. Way to score nationwide cred, PEI! Though, personally, I'm seeing way too much garbage strewn around our streets and beaches lately. Seriously, guys, it's not hard to just save whatever you want to chuck and put it in your own trash bin when you get home. The island still pretty much looks like a little garden overall, so let's help to keep it that way, you dig? October 10th, 1888, the Daily Examiner ran a front-page editorial by a Charles W. Keeley, the principal of York School, who felt that Islanders were not inclined to pursue education beyond what we now call high school because the lessons they were presented with came off as dull and rote. Keeley wondered if former students would remember what they were taught if there were, quote, "an ideal system in which every teacher would have full liberty to choose his own textbooks, use his own appliances, and work out his own ideas and methods," unquote. I'm all for originality everywhere, but I doubt even the most original methods would have made me remember my algebra. All those letters next to numbers, it's like postal codes. October 10th, 1933, the Charlottetown Guardian, read by everyone, reported the opening of a Carnegie Library in Montague Wednesday next, at which 1,000 books would be available for the public to borrow. The branch was slated to be open 2 afternoons a week, along with Saturday afternoon and evening. A Carnegie Library is one built with money donated by Scottish-American businessman Andrew Carnegie. You know, Carnegie Hall? Yeah, that one. Carnegie was responsible for the creation of over 2,500 libraries between 1883 and 1929, with 125 in Canada alone. Montague's was the first public library established on the island. The original branch was on Main Street. Of course, it moved into the old Montague Town Hall in the late 20th century and has been part of the Cavendish Wellness Center since 2010. Thanks, Andy. Not to get technical, but Technomedia is the sponsor for this first part of the show, so let's hear a word from them, shall we? No worries, though. The music of Prince Edward Island will be right back.
Looking to increase your digital presence? All you need is Technomedia. From branding to graphic design, website development, photography, social media campaigns, and more, Technomedia's got your back. With 30 years experience to back them up. Find them at technomediapei.com or call 902-368-3043. Technomedia. Let's create something together.
Hi, this is Sarah Siegel-Lazar, and you're listening to isletunes.
He was only 23 when he took his bride-to-be. Something about that look in his blue eyes. He never meant to stray, he just wasn't raised that way. But he has nothing left to say this time. Those girls in magazines, all a part of the machine. That picture perfect moment in your mind. He promised with a vow, but it's broken now, and there is nothing left to say. She didn't another sip of gin, but she has nothing left to say this time. Those girls in magazines look so pretty in their jeans. They'll break your heart right before your eyes. She never would confess that she tried to wear my dress, but there is nothing left to say this time. Shades of gray still follow that old devil down the aisle. I took his crooked hand, wore his wedding band, and I have nothing left to say this time. Those girls in magazines all wrapped up in wedding dreams. They never tell the truth between the
about haunting. iTunes suggests y'all brides-to-be might want to reconsider that engagement ring, at least according to the searing delivery of Alicia Toner on Bride-to-Be. That's from Alicia's Joan album of 2021. The Fredericton native, who has long made PEI her home, played Carnegie Hall, there he is again, with the New Brunswick Youth Orchestra and was well established in theater by the time she released her first album, I Learned the Hard Way, in 2017. That led to the aforementioned Joan, which was nominated for no less than 7 Music PEI awards and won Solo Recording of the Year. Not to be left behind, the ECMAs came calling with 2 nominations, and Alicia took home the Canadian Folk Music Awards Solo Artist of the Year trophy before she was done. Now that's what I call setting the tone. Hey, my show, I can do bad puns if I want to. I'm not even going to bother doing an intro for this next artist because what can I possibly say that you haven't already heard? He's been an Island staple since 1988, and his accolades, placed end to end, stretch out longer than the Confederation Bridge. He started by only recording albums in English, but eventually ventured into French. In fact, he's now half of a very successful Francophone duo, and he's just a nice guy. Don't you hate him? For real, obviously not, the way y'all flock to his shows whenever he puts one on. As is right. If you haven't figured out by now that I'm talking about Lenny Gallant, you may need to surrender your PEI membership card. This is one of his early French language offerings from his 2009 album Le Cœur Hanté, or The Haunted Heart. This is Fleurs dans mon cœur, or Flowers in My Heart, on iTunes. Hey, dude, your heart is either haunted or full of flowers. Which one is it? You're confusing me.
Écarté, je me sentais si seul. Entourné, c'est ça mon épreuve. Je place l'appel qui me sauve chaque jour. Petite voix au bout de la ligne, elle veut que papa revienne vite. Elle me donne ses précieux mots d'amour. C'est comme des fleurs dans mon cœur. Je ne marche parmi la beauté quand t'es loin. C'est comme des fleurs dans mon cœur. Elles sont toujours là dans n'importe quel coin. Un autre ville, un autre micro. Je chante mes paroles de nouveau. J'essaie de toucher quelqu'un chaque soir. Parle aux foules de ma petite fille, tous les passants qu'elle change ma vie. Comment ces appels me donnent l'espoir. C'est comme des fleurs dans mon cœur. Je marche parmi leur beauté quand elles loin. C'est comme des fleurs dans mon cœur. Elles sont toujours là dans n'importe quel coin. Je vois dans leur beauté chaque fois. Ça rend les jours moins durs quand je suis loin de toi. Je ne marche parmi leur beauté quand t'es loin. T'es comme des fleurs dans mon cœur. Elles sont toujours là dans n'importe quel coin. T'es comme des fleurs dans mon cœur. Je ne marche parmi leur beauté quand t'es loin. Des fleurs dans mon cœur. Elles sont toujours là dans n'importe quel coin. Elles sont toujours là dans n'importe quel coin.
There's a pretty fantasy, and I'm buried somewhere in the city. If it glitters and it's gold, my ruby shoes are gonna save my soul. Milk and honey, wait for me at the end of a fairy tale street.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The shadow knows. Okay, that's from a 1930s radio serial, but it also fits The City Knows, a single from Soul Filter you've just heard on iTunes. Despite the band name of husband and wife team Mike and Karen Penton, there really is no filter on their collective soul, especially not in this biting musical commentary about arriving in the big city to shoot for your dreams, only to realize it ain't all that more times than not. Hey, I lived it out in LA. I know what they're talking about. The City Knows was Soul Filter's 2022 follow-up single to their 2019 album, A Minor Conspiracy, which, perhaps not surprisingly, picked up a Music PEI Award nomination for Rock Recording of the Year in 2020. Moving on from the 1930s, beat poetry came out of the 50s and continued on through the 60s. Defined by its free verse that often had surreal elements to it, the style found its groove in jazz influences and found its lines recited against actual jazz, resulting in tons of beat poetry albums. The genre may have moved into the annals of yesterday, but that doesn't mean it's completely dead, and it doesn't mean PEI doesn't have its own purveyors of the genre. But like Daddy-O. That doesn't mean this gent is sitting around in a black turtleneck and a beret, though he totally could if he wanted to. Trevor Lowell Clements had been jamming and recording here and in faraway places like Korea and Brunei. With his Barncat poetry beat on the island, he recorded several tracks which were rather scattered around SoundCloud and other such sources. Last fall, he took the best of his best and consolidated it into a proper album, The Laboratory of Poetics and Soundwave Manipulation. And though beat poetry is known for its themes of transgression and alienation, frequently laced with obscenities, Trevor instead offers up a touching tribute to a dearly departed beloved aunt. This is Unassuming Ways from Trevor Lowell Clements and the Barncat Poetry Beat on iTunes, Daddy-O.
When the flow of one life slows down, the oceans turn into seas, the seas, lakes, the lakes, bulrushing rivers. Smaller streams become narrow and wind more slowly, till only bubbling brooks remain and slow still, then only a tiny spring seeps from underground, till the inevitable still waters stop flowing and the life goes out. All the colors of the sun become a void. That's when memories surge forward. At first, tiny spring, then bubbling brooks and streams of dancing recollections of a colorful life. Becomes the mighty rivers and plunging waterfalls, the many memories of the family estuaries. Coalescing into an ocean of shared time, stories and unique percolations, those memories are what remains. Funny and unique, common stance or introspective, peculiar or mundane. When they all swirl together, they make a true aim to celebrate a life, to elicit tears alongside smiles, and to know that Sally, a cliche, it may be true, but when they made you, they truly broke the mold. If ever there was a mold, could tie you down and hold you under a microscope, your own path, your own rules, the million books you read and the days and days in your own garden. It was simple pleasures, and our memories are simple pleasures, but profound and sweet in their unassuming ways. So we can close our eyes and dream of the rubber snake bandanas and colorful sprawling gardens and your unassuming ways. And in years past these days, those stories will still trickle out, become streams and rivers, lakes and seas and oceans, reminding us in whispers like tides and quirky smiles of your unassuming ways. And I guess you had a few hard knocks, and the final hard-fought trial that tried to take you part by part. But even still, you never left and never lost your unassuming ways.
The Unassuming Ways of Trevor Lowell Clements and the Barn Cat Poetry Beat on iTunes. Still to come, Dennis Ellsworth debuts a new album, Hardcore. Madeline Vossen tells you to get out. And a Halifax band with clear PEI links crosses a new bridge. Maybe it's corny to say that there's a certain poetry in any live performance, but that's my story and I'm sticking to it. I guess for you to dispute me, you'd have to take in one of these live performances. How fortunate is it then that you have oodles of stage shows to choose from around here, even with summer well behind us, and it behooves me to tell you about them via gigs to dig across Prince Edward Island. Thursday, October 10th, it's United by Song featuring Joss Rayom, Brielle Ansems, Noah Malcolm, Nathan Wiley, Luca Hall, John Connolly, and more still with host Tanya Davis at the Confed Center. Also, October 10th, it's Island Jazz, Chris Corrigan at the Vanguard Volume 1 at Baba's Lounge. Volume 2, by the way, happens October 17th. Friday, October 11th, it's Nick Donough's 7th annual tribute to John Prine at the Trailside Music Hall. Those shows repeat October 12th and 13th as well. Saturday, October 12th, it's the Peace Concert featuring Ruth Mathayang, Tanya Davis, Scott Parsons, the Gaia Singers, Tony Redden, and a surprise Palestinian-Canadian performer. That's all happening at Trinity United in Charlottetown. Also on the 12th, it's Margie Carmichael at King's Playhouse in Georgetown. Looking into next week, October 13th, it's the Country Music Festival featuring Kira Gallant, Riel Arsenault, Dax Arsenault, and Benoit Arsenault at Village Musical Acadien in Abram Village. October 17th, it's Island Jazz, Chris Corrigan at the Vanguard, like I told you, Volume 2, that's at Baba's Lounge. October 18th, Sarah Hagen, Flower Music is at St. Paul's in Charlottetown. And October 20th, it's the Ella Montgomery Soiree featuring Leo Marchildon at the Barachois Inn in Rustico. That show is also happening October 27th.
Hey, I'm Lawrence Maxwell, and you're listening to iTunes.
iTunes World Premiere.
I'll never doubt. I won't let you down. I'll never put you out of my mind, babe. you say my name, I like it here. I like it here. I don't ever wanna leave. I don't ever wanna leave. My heart is a river. If yours is the sea, I'll run through whatever if you're waiting for me. And I fall like the rain when you say my name. I like it here. I like it here. I don't ever wanna leave. I don't ever wanna leave. I like it here. I like it here. I don't ever wanna leave. I don't ever wanna leave.
Prolific as Prince. Sorry to keep tying these guys together, but the rapidity of their output makes it inevitable. That's Dennis Ellsworth with the closing track from his brand new album Hardcore Freewheelin' on iTunes, Butterflies in Bed. That's subject matter that Prince would have appreciated, yes? Like the Purple One, Dennis started writing at a young age, filling notebooks with lyrics. By 2008, he was releasing solo albums, but that wasn't enough. 2009 and 2010 each saw albums from his band Haunted Hearts. And then there was his duet record with Kinley. Yeah, I'm definitely getting Prince from all this. To say we've recently received a deluge of Dennis is an understatement, and I mean that in the best possible way. Last November, he released his full album, Modern Hope, and only 3 weeks ago, he gave us its companion EP, Luna. Dropping a whole nother album not even a month after an EP? Dennis, Prince would be jealous. If you want to grab Hardcore Freewheelin', it's only available on Bandcamp. Any of y'all follow Star Trek, most specifically Star Trek Voyager? Then you may know 7 of 9.
Resistance is futile.
And how she described a Borg maturation chamber in which little baby drones were placed until they were old enough to start assimilation of other species themselves. Holland College's School of Performing Arts is kind of like a maturation chamber where songwriting students come to assimilate knowledge about music, only without the drones. Rather, SOPA students are individual in as many ways as there are individuals in the program. One such individual is Madeline Vossen, who came to us from Antigonish and has been called small but mighty. Her jam is folk-induced pop that's combined with darker alternative stylings. She's got 2 singles out, both from last year, and certainly this one demonstrates the flavors just mentioned. iTunes brings you Get Out from Madeline Vossen.
I've lost those strings, and my thoughts are withdrawn. Long ago there was imagination. It's Snowden's fault, and I'm always close. Oh no, my vocabulary shrunk. My mind is going blank. Another color turns to gray with every
Madeline Vossen tossing us her most recent single, Get Out, on iTunes. Hope you caught it. New bands form constantly, and it's hard to keep up with them all. Until they're able to put their own stamp on music, how can you possibly tell them apart? Well, this group stamped and stamped hard, and they only just put out their debut single in August. Their journey from demo to recorded tracks took an unexpected detour through Nashville, which is not something you can usually say about a maritime outfit just starting out. That's all the more reason you guys are going to dig on the coming-of-age story of Newbridge, a new band that you need to know about, taken care of by the fact that they sat down for the iTunes Zoomerphones. Microzooms. Whatever. Listen.
Okay, Altuners, now I know that you know that new bands pop up all the time, kind of like the weeds in my garden that I really ought to get off my ass and yank out, but I think you're going to like these guys. And full disclosure, they're out of Halifax, but I don't want to hear it because I'm still maintaining my from or connected to PEI mandate because one of their members is from PEI, and that's not even their only connection. Besides, their sound is like feel-good retro and today had a baby. Here, streaming through the iTunes studio, also known as my basement, through the magic of Zoom, these are the newbies of Newbridge. Fellas, it's great to have you here.
We're great. We're happy to be here. This is great.
Yeah,
what an introduction. Thank you.
So just so everyone can get clear on the band, let's start off with you guys introducing yourselves. Now, there's only two of you tonight, but tell us what you guys do and what the other guys do in Newbridge.
Go ahead, Glenn.
Well, I mean, it's pretty simple for me. I mean, I play the drums, and then I think, but we all had a hand in the production of in some of the writing credits for the song. So we're all Swiss Army knives in our own way. But I'll let Keith describe the rest of the group. He's got a real good handle on whoever it is.
Yeah, Keith Madison. Yeah, so I'm the songwriter, I guess the lead singer, and hacking away at guitar up there too. I guess, the band was kind of like my vision originally, and it started with me wanting to get back into music. I play music for fun at home and family and bonfires and all that stuff for probably around a decade, but I used to play and gig all over, the Maritimes and a little bit in Ontario and had a lot of fun with it. And I think it was kind of like during COVID, like so many people, we just everyone's kind of looking to the future and maybe want to kickstart or restart some things that we had left unfinished in the past. So I started chatting with Glenn and a couple other folks about putting a band together and had these songs written, and we started.
The guys that we're missing are our good friends Jeff Mosier of the Mellowtones and long standing friend of Keith's. And of course, Warren Roberts, who's a wonderful character, amazing guitar player.
And now, just so that I don't get people mad at me, which one of you is from PEI?
That would be me. I'm an official Islander. I'm from Summerside, technically St. Elners, if you're into the details, just off of Pope Road near the GST Center. So if that doesn't convince you.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I'm kind of a geek when it comes to names and how people, places, and things get them. Yours. Now, it could be as simple as bridges that aren't old.
One day we had a band rehearsal and there was traffic in Halifax. I don't know how well you know Halifax, but there's two harbor bridges. One was built in the 1950s and one was built in the 1970s. The one from the 1970s is called the New Bridge, even though it's like 55 years old. And I said to Glenn in a text, and it was very abrupt. It was like a voice to text because I'm like in the car sitting in traffic on the New Bridge. And I said, stuck on New Bridge, I'll be late for a rehearsal. And Glenn just writes back, he goes, that's the band name, New Bridge. And I was like, I'll take it.
I think it totally works. So your promo stuff lists y'all as Americana folk and roots rock band. So describe that sound and how did you develop it?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it starts with the song. So like I think like so many of us, that grew up in the 90s, I grew up listening to a lot of Tragically Hip and Blue Rodeo, but also like south of the border, like, the Wallflowers, Counting Crows. And I really love that like 90s Americana sound that was out there. And it was really popular in Canada. There was a ton of bands doing it. And there was a lot of great music coming out there, and it's always sort of left an impression on me. And then I've also always really loved, country and folk songwriters. Like I'm a massive Bob Dylan fan, and I also love the band, like the band, a ton. And so I love to really dive in on lyrics and songwriting, and like to play with the English language. It's always been something I've really enjoyed. One of the things I loved about the band was they always had like a really cool sort of bluesy R&B, traditional rock and roll feel, and also a lot of their songs were quite folky or quite like traditional country as well. But there was always like a good rhythm to it, and kind of get people up on their feet. But on top of that, they would have these beautiful narratives about all kinds of different subjects and stuff. But the songs were really meaningful. It was my point. And so I loved combining sort of those worlds all together. And that's kind of how it started. But the interesting thing with the band is like everybody comes from a really different background. Like Glenn's background in in-flight safety. I mean, I don't know how you want to describe that, Glenn, but it's kind of like a pop rock. It was a bit kind of European centric in their sound. So he came from a different standpoint. Jeff has a really strong background. Jeff Mosier, our bass player, in R&B, and soul and R&B and jazz. And so having him, it was just another perspective, musical perspective. And Warren, he's a bit older and grew up in the 80s and has got that sort of 80s guitar tone. And he's also a fantastic Celtic guitarist and brings a whole bunch of different stuff. So there's kind of this like Venn diagram almost, but I was trying to just kind of harness all that stuff when we made this record. One of the things that we did is our friend Robbie Kroll, who is from Fredericton, originally lived in Halifax for years, ended up, long story short, moving to Nashville, and he's playing with Sturgill Simpson and Jason Isbell, like massive alt country Americana artists. He's doing great, and so we've always kind of stayed in touch. And we made a demo here with the four of us, and one of the things we were kind of like, well, what do we do next? Well, let's fire it down to Robbie. He's in Nashville. He's kind of in the center of the universe for this sort of sound. Like, let's see. And that was, talking about that overlap or whatever, how like he played a really big part in that. Like he's a keyboardist and a fantastic musician. He's a bass player, drummer, saxophonist, but he's encouraged us, to come down and make a record. With him to produce it. He offered to produce it as well as play keyboards and saxophone, and then bring in all kinds of, we wanted fiddle, we wanted gospel singers and all kinds of cool instrumentation. And he set the whole thing up as well as the studio. So that was like, for us, like, it was great that we sort of connected as a band, and then we reached out to him pretty early on, and he responded really positively to it and really encouraged us to see if we were interested in coming down there, which we were. And it just it just kind of all happened. It was like destiny.
That is really amazing, because not many bands who are just starting out get to run down to Nashville and record their debut record. I'm talking to the new band, New Bridge, here on iTunes, and talk to me more about this new record. Kind of what people can expect from it, and especially what's it called, and when are you looking to release it?
You want to take that one, Glenn?
I think the release date's going to be somewhere in January. The name of the record is going to be Past Lives, which is one of the tracks on the album that I think may be a single at some point in time. We've got a new single coming out approaching the end of this month called Swinging for the Fences. We did do kind of live off the floor, so you do feel quite a bit of energy in the songs. There's a real like kind of like a zest for life in the record. It's kind of an exciting sound. All of the above was a surprise. I mean, you set the scene for the people and the players and everything in the songs, and we were all extremely pleasantly surprised by the results. So hopefully listeners can hear all of that. This was all done like almost 99% within the same 9 days. So it's same place, same people, same weather. same everything. It's a snapshot in time, which is great because the past lives vibe is very kind of nostalgic and Kodak carousel-esque. So I think it just kind of all lined up. I've rarely seen something line up as well.
Now, your leadoff single is Sand Somewhere, which came out in mid-August. And this is what I'm about to drop on you all here for you Isle tuners within earshot. Now, what prompted you to choose this song as Newbridge's coming out party of sorts? And would you set it up for us?
Sure. We always just kind of thought the song had this sort of like 80s summer rock kind of vibe. And it really just checked a lot of the boxes on how we thought we wanted to introduce ourselves, I guess, to people. It's like a feel-good song, kind of like a roll down the windows in the summer kind of tune, crank it on the old car stereo. And so Sand Somewhere is just kind of playing on this theme of like anywhere hot or whatever is better than maybe living here in the winter. And I just want to hit the open road and kind of take a break from my life and get somewhere warm, jump on a beach or whatever, and just kind of leave it all behind.
They've already gone places by doing up their debut in Nashville, and if this representative cut is any indication, the record itself is going to go places. Gents, I'm super jazzed that we could get together today, albeit electronically, and it's been great to get to know Newbridge. Thanks for all the info, and here's the success of your album when it does come out.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
For now, we'll simply have to settle for this introductory cut I've been promising, so let's make good, crossing a new bridge with Newbridge. This is Sand Somewhere on iTunes.
Newbridge letting listeners in and not charging tolls with their first single, Sand Somewhere, on iTunes. When this quartet's new incarnation, their upcoming album Past Lives, comes into existence, I'll channel it for you. Right here, of course. What, you say? iTunes is over already? Well, yeah, gotta have some sort of time limit. My goal is always an hour, but my verboseness, and I can give you references in 2 countries, doesn't always see eye to eye with me. Though without my describing artists and their songs to you, with a little entertainment value thrown in, why, iTunes would just be another streaming service playlist and boring. I don't do boring. If you're liking what you hear either from week to week, or if you're just coming on board for the first time, it's not free to produce these bad boys for you. No one has to tell me money is tight, but if you're able, donate a little something through PayPal, link in the description, or become a subscriber on Patreon. That's patreon.com/isletunes. Every penny, though we haven't had pennies in Canada since 2012, goes toward the making and promotion of this podcast. Well, metaphorical pennies. I'll be just as grateful for those. If you want to make a suggestion or a comment or even a request, you can do that by sending email to amj@isletunes.ca or voicemailing/texting 902-807-4250. If you have a mind to record yourself saying an island catchphrase, or islanderism as I like to call them, use those same contact methods to get them to me. That's what Irene Doyle did. Her voice started this episode. Yeah, of course, social media. Come like the show on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, though I've been very slow to get into the talk of ticking. Part of giving island musicians an outlet is telling folks where to buy their music, and I always post those links, so click on some and make a PEI artist happy by adding their songs to your collection. This episode of iTunes was sponsored in part by Technomedia. Musical contribution to the iTunes theme by Kaylin McCauley and John Hashem. Show concept by Rocky O'Neill. Coordination assistance by Jackie Robichaux. I'm Adam Michael James, and yeah, we out. But get ready to do this all over again next Sunday. This being diving into the ever-expanding pool of music made on the island. All genres, all eras, all inclusive. Swim around a while. The water's fine. Also, after several weeks of rerun interviews, we'll follow up this fresh one with another fresh one in the next episode. In fact, we're on track to have just picked interviews for you the whole month of October, and I'll start working on November as well. iTunes is the podcast PEI didn't know it needed, so tell your friends and family, and I'll do my part by filling up their ears the way I just filled up yours. In the meantime, be good. And if you can't be good at it. See you in a week, and thanks for listening, PEI.